Hello, everybody. We are finally playing Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. It finally came out just today, so day one. I know we haven't streamed in a little while, and I know we haven't finished Penumbra Requiem yet. I'm going to finish that one. The last time that we streamed, there was actually an issue with the headset I was using, and the microphone wasn't really picking up the audio. So I've been trying to boost areas that I can in post-production, and in some areas I even had to dub over because there was a lot of wind. So we will eventually finish Penumbra Requiem as soon as I get that video up and, dubbed over or volume boosted. It's taking a long time, and since the last time we streamed, I moved again. So I'm always moving to different places. Now I'm in an apartment, so hopefully things will be a lot more steady. I say that a lot, but I'm really hoping this time. But I digress. Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe finally came out today. It's been a long time coming. We've been excited to play this game for a while now. I don't know how much has changed. I know that they apparently added a bunch of new endings. I think the game got a facelift, so it's like more HD now. I don't know if it's still running on the Source engine. Maybe it is. Maybe it's more advanced version. All I know is that the game looks better apparently, has new content, and I don't know if they've changed any of the old content, but we will find out. So, without further ado, let's get the volume back up. And we're going to jump right into this. Okay, begin the game. Classic loading screen. We've seen this before. The end is never the end, is never the end. The end is loading. Oh, I'm so excited. Perhaps one of these days we'll do the baby game for 4 hours. I know I said that last time we played the Stanley Parable, but maybe we'll actually do it now.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
What a classic intro. That's a very nostalgic
And then one
intro.
day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
Rude.
Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alright, so far everything's playing the same. We will try just going through the game normally to the mind control room as usual. See if all that plays the same. If it does, maybe we'll try some new stuff that we never tried in the original Stanley Parable, but I have a feeling that with it being a new game, new stuff will probably happen, so.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alright, we're
No
not going
matter
to do
how
that.
hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Maybe they're all just planning a surprise party for him. It is his Ultra Deluxe day, isn't it?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his
Can
left.
Stanley twerk? It's a first-person game, so I don't know. I don't even think you can crouch. Oh, you can crouch. I guess this is the closest we're gonna get. Also, if I remember correctly...
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a
There
staircase,
it is.
Stanley walked upstairs
Oh, we got
to his
two
boss's
achievements.
office.
So we just got an achievement called You Can't Jump, and then another achievement for getting our first achievement. Alright, have a good one. Thanks for stopping by, Dev. You work hard, okay?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
Can we play the piano
What he
in
could
this
not have
version?
known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss
What
had
could it
assigned
be?
it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
No, there's no chance that he would just randomly punch in those exact 4 numbers, right? Alright, so far, everything's playing the exact same as the... Hello?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs.
Did he not say 2845?
Trying to input anything on the device was
45. I did
useless,
54.
since he could never possibly know that the combination... Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad,
I thought maybe
Stanley
something was
happened to
actually gonna
input the
change.
correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
I don't remember it being so dark. Has it always been so dark? What could they be doing underneath this office building? Hopefully nothing crazy that would affect the
Descending
lives of all
deeper
the
into the
employees
building,
in a
Stanley
negative
realized
way.
he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Alright.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Let there be light.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
So
What
everything
horrible
is playing
secret
out
did this place
exactly as
hold?
normal.
Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to
I
find
feel
out?
like there will be other options that we haven't seen yet. Right now we're just kind of following the main path that we know leads to the main ending, but there's bound to be some new stuff.
Now the
on our
monitors jumped
next
to life,
playthrough
their
as we
true
try out
nature
weird stuff.
revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
The truth has been revealed. Who could have seen this coming? I'm completely blown away.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was
Never.
unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power
does that
over
say?
another human life. For he would dismantle the
can't read
controls
that. I
once
think it's just
and
code.
for all.
Alright, so, unless something radically different happens when we open the gate and escape, everything's playing out as normal, which is fine because this is just an upgraded version of the Stanley Parable. However, I'm wondering if we choose to turn it on. I know in the original game, none of the buttons in that last room did anything, We spent a lot of time trying to figure out what they could mean, or if there was a way to stop the facility from getting exploded. I don't know if I want to try, just in case that hasn't been changed either, because I have a feeling they probably didn't change that. But maybe later on, I'll look into, or maybe even like off camera, try to see if any of those buttons actually do anything now. I doubt it, because I think that's like a big part of the game, is the illusion of being able to stop the bombs from coming. But just something that to think about. Because honestly, I don't know what they changed so far, because obviously we just went down a normal path that was in the original game. But I don't know. I don't know if anything along the path that we just took
Blackness
is different.
and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
This is deep
Whatever
stuff.
life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Have we ever just stood and see if he says anything? I feel like we've tried that before, but I'm just gonna kind of wait around and see if he starts nagging us. It's definitely way too dark to see if I can go back. No, I think they put a wall up. Alright. Mr. Narrator is allowing us to take our time, for once. I feel like that'll change throughout the course of this game.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
We like a happy ending. We like it when Stanley's happy. But most of the time, Stanley's happiness tends to come at the expense of the narrator's happiness. Alright, so, since we know that the game, for the most part, has the same routes, or at least that route was the exact same, we're going to see if there's any new pathways that we've never seen before. So I think we'll go through the door on the right this time, and see if
All of his
any
co-workers were
rooms
gone. What could
look
it
out of
mean?
place.
Stanley
or
decided to go to the meeting
if there's
room.
any
Perhaps he had
doors we've
simply
never
missed a
seen
memo.
before.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I don't know if any of these random office doors will open up. I'm just trying to do different things, because so far the layout of the building doesn't look to have changed at all.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Alright, nothing new in... Oh, I thought that was actually like something we could read.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that
Copy
even
that.
though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. really worth it.
There's the narrator we know and love.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and
I'm
reflected
just trying
poorly
to
on
see
his
if there's
overall
anything
personality.
new. I'm sorry.
It's possible that this is why everyone left.
That's so savage. I'm just making sure that every
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue.
pixel
But when a
gets
long
looked
time
at.
had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Okay, I get it. We're moving
But at
on.
last,
We're moving
he had
on. There's
enough of the
nothing in that
amazing room and took the first
The
open door on his
amazing
left
room.
to get back to business.
Nope.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Oh, that's one of my favorite lines in the whole game. Alright, so this looks the same as well. Penalty for misuse of cargo list, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000. Oh, I almost accidentally fell. Is there... I know the first time we played this game, vent access for trained employees only? Vent access? What? I don't remember there ever being a vent. I know the first time that we made it to this part in the original game, we tried to see if there was any way to land without killing ourselves. I don't see anything down there that looks different. Unless landing on those boxes, but I feel like we've tried that before. But this vent access has me kind of curious because I don't remember there ever being a vent. So can I like creep past here? I see the vent right there. What does it say? For trained employees. So I feel like this is gonna be like something I'm gonna have to be skilled at in order to actually reach. Oh, okay. I think maybe. Can we actually do this? Okay, this might be our first brand new path that we've never seen before. Because I don't remember there being a vent in the original game. And I'm surprised we nailed that without falling to our death. Okay, this is all new. I've never seen this before. What is that? Drawing of a woman? No, a knight. Okay. This is officially new Ultra Deluxe content that
Stanley
I've never
had now
seen
gotten
before.
himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. Oh
my god, that actually scared me. Why does it? I feel like I could hear it coming from the ceiling. Like normally the narrator sounds like he's coming like right into your ears, but it almost sounds like it's coming from right here. So are all
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you
I was
and me,
gonna say,
all the absurd
he knew what I
adventures
was
we've been
gonna
through,
say.
and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
It's funny because he like knew exactly what I was thinking, because I was gonna be like, are all these tapes the things that he said? But then how would he react to what we were doing? That's great. Thank you, Mr. Narrator. That was worth it.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Alright, so that is the first
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Ultra
Perhaps he had
Deluxe
simply
ending
missed
that
a memo.
we've come across. Pretty cool. So we're just gonna keep on doing what we did and just kind of look for anything we've never seen before in the original game. Because that's how we noticed that vent. What does that piece of paper say? Something have fallen. Oh, let's do this. Pretty sure we have to do an input on each new loop. Oh. I forgot you could turn off the other monitors. Okay, none of these doors seem to suddenly be open, right? Is this the one that you have to like click on a bunch of times to get that achievement? We're not gonna do that
No
right
matter
now.
how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Just because it takes a long time. Or was it this one? Alright. Let's go back on the path on the right again. And maybe go across the cargo
When Stanley
elevator.
came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes.
Yeah, we're not going to
this
take
room.
a long time in that room.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Okay, but there might be something new in here too. No, we're going to go across the elevator.
Stanley was so bad
It's
at
kind of
following
like an
directions,
Easter egg
it's
hunt.
incredible
Like,
he wasn't 5
we're
years
used to
ago.
the layout of the building, and we know it pretty well, but now we're just looking for new added
Look,
things.
Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Like, is
I'm
that
not
door
your
suddenly
enemy, really,
openable?
I'm not.
Probably not.
I realize that investing in your
doesn't
trust
have
in
it
someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Oh,
Someone you've forgotten about.
has that garage door always
Please,
been open?
stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
Or
Now,
what is
I'm not
this?
asking for me. This is it, Stanley.
Oh, never mind.
Your chance
I
to
thought there was
redeem
like a
yourself.
corridor here.
To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
But this...
She's been waiting.
Oh, it's locked. I've never seen this room before. 432? Is there no way to get in here? No, I thought this was going to be like a new room. Alright, what happens if we go back on the cargo elevator? He's not going to say anything. Can we possibly reach that platform and go back to the red and blue doors? That seems like quite a bit of a jump. I kind of wish that I could get to that walkway, because I don't know if there's anything over there. I feel like I'm going to get myself killed if I try to go over there, but if I keep going this way, is it just going to lead me to the phone? And those two endings? Because, I mean, as much as I enjoy these endings that we've seen before, and obviously I don't mind watching them again, I'm specifically on the lookout for new things that we haven't seen in the original Stanley Parable, but I feel like I'm gonna get myself killed if I try to go onto that platform. And I don't know if this is just gonna lead me to the phone or if there's new stuff over here. Well, there's no turning back now, so let's just keep pressing on.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Alright, so, are we gonna unplug the phone or are we gonna answer it? Because there's two choices here. We'll answer it, because I think the most recent time we've been here, we had unplugged it.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
I can't remember if there was anything that you could do in this area, like by not pressing the button or pressing different buttons. It's been such a long time. So what if I just press everything else? No, I'm pretty sure it just waits until you do it.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button.
I'm hungry.
Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him,
like an invisible
except that
wall.
he's
I can't
chosen
even go
this
to the
life.
door.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful.
I like
and each
how
day that he returned to work was a reminder
like
that none of it would ever happen to him.
And then there's just a sink that's like dirty and rusty.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Wait, so I haven't really been paying attention, but does the stuff in this kitchen change into office stuff the more keys that you press? Because we just watched the TV turn into a clock. And he's talking about how Stanley can't stop thinking about work. So I'm wondering if I had been paying attention, if maybe things start to just transform into office stuff.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Prepare dinner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world,
Look at that.
He began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls.
Thank you
and
so much
for
the
down another was a
follow,
yellow line that weaved
Christian
in many
Scumbo.
directions, and down another was
Glad
a
to
game
have
with
you
a
in the
baby.
stream, man.
And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy.
Yes, it just
and
came
so
out
in his
today.
Head, he relived
Called
it
Stanley
again,
Parable
and then
Ultra
again,
Deluxe.
and again,
So
over
far,
and over, wishing beyond
a
hope
lot
that
of
it would
is
never
the
end,
same.
that he might
So there's a
always
lot of
feel this free.
It's the Stanley Parable.
Surely there's an
in its
answer down some
entirety.
new path.
But
Mustn't there be?
we
Perhaps
have
if he
found
played
one
just one
new
more time.
route that wasn't in the original game, and supposedly there's supposed to be a few new endings and different paths that you can take, and we found one of them so far. Right now we're on one of the normal ones, but we're just kind of hunting around to see if
But there
we
is
can
no
find
answer.
stuff
How
that
could there
wasn't
possibly be?
in the original.
In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons
yeah, it
he
just came out
always
today.
has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing
Ultra
himself.
Deluxe
But he won't
version.
listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button,
Is it quiet?
do
Oh
not
no.
do it.
This is familiar. Alright, let me turn it up a little bit. Because the last time that we streamed, this was a problem. But the mic in OBS is maxed out. So it could just be that the game volume is just a little too loud, so I'll turn it down a bit. We don't want a repeat of Penumbra Requiem where no one could hear me, because that was bad. Alright, let's turn it down. Hopefully the game is still loud enough, but...
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Oh, it's completely turned into his office. Like, this is the layout of his office normally.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules.
Okay, good.
I simply play to my
Cool.
intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
I forgot about this.
I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And
Okay, so far we found one new ending, and we went through 2 of the original endings. I think it's been close enough to a half hour that for the people watching on YouTube, I'm going to end this recording right here, and then when we pick it back up, we're going to hopefully find at least another new ending or 2 that we haven't seen before. But I will see you guys then.